The test is all about survival. Once 400, now to be 200. You may fight, you may kill, you may scheme, you may even run away. Do what you must to make sure you survive. Even make allies. Hello everyone and welcome to the Enemies Elliot, and thank you for joining me as we discuss chapters 5, 6, 7 and 8 of the Tower of God webtoon series. And these block of chapters covers the test on Evanhell's floor, in where 400 regulars start, well, plus biome I suppose, and only 200 will advance. Basically testing the drive, determination, survival tactics of the competitors, seeing if they have what it takes and what must be done in order to obtain what they solely desire. This test basically pits up 400 people against each other until 200 survive, and it's basically just a battle royale, free for all. Do what you must, show that you can do what the necessary in order to achieve what you want to achieve. That's basically it. The second test on this floor then challenges the regulars' skills of persuasion and their resolve, and their ability to act fast and think fast, as they need to create a team consisting of themselves and 2 other people within the 5-minute time frame. And personally, I really like this concept because it basically almost forces you to befriend those closest to you at that moment in time of the test starting, which, as they state, is going to basically be the person you've just been fighting with. That's just logical sense. And, that's where the testing of persuasive skills comes into play, because you have to persuade your enemy to become your friend. And then you can also see why they're testing the resolve of one person, basically whether or not they're willing to put aside their pride to join a team and then basically work together in order to reach their own goals. You may have a prideful character. Take a character from Dragon Ball Z, like Vegeta, for example. Do you think he would willingly join a team just so he can advance forward? Not really. He probably would go a different route. Maybe he would just destroy the entire playing field and leave himself surviving. Bad example, maybe. Moving forward. But yes, I really did like the concept of these 2 tests, because at the one stage it kind of makes you and baits you into thinking that you can just go out and do whatever you like and there'll be no consequences. And then the big consequence that might follow from you doing just that is that you won't be able to advance, because the person you've just been fighting, or you've killed all your possible allies in your vicinity to the point where you can't meet up with anybody else. I really do like that. It's a high risk reward, but the payoff is very good. I think that's the right phrase. I don't know. It's late. I've been working all day. I'm pretty tired. But then again, moving forward. So this is all great for characters that are weaker, like the BAMs that we have. But again, the self-serving pride characters will need to swallow that in order to make the team their advantage. So, it's going to be good. However, that all being said, this chapter does introduce us to some new characters that get a good amount of screen time for the most part, basically stating to us that these characters are going to be important, so watch out for them in future chapters. And I like that. It's hinting to us at big things to come from these characters, and the interactions that they had were pretty cool. So, to start off with, we have Hats, a guy that looks like he's a super skilled swordsman in wielding 2 swords in a very unique way. I like the fact that he just chucks one up in the air and he attacks with the other one, basically distracting the opponent, kind of focusing them upwards to kind of see where the sword's going to go, and then swoosh, he takes them down from the bottom. Awesome. Then we have a Knack, a lizard-like female that is very arrogant. I found her to be very smug, cocky and arrogant in these chapters, especially when you compare herself to her anime counterpart. When she first debuted in the anime, yes, she had those type of traits, but I think the way that the artist has kind of drawn a Knack in these chapters make her look a lot more smug. And I really like that. It shows more personality and more kind of character traits to her character, which again is always a good thing in my books. She uses a singular needle weapon that seems to have some very sinister aura around it. So hopefully we learn more about that moving forward. And then we have Shibisu, a character that I can't really say too much about because we don't see much from him, But for the most part, he seems like comic relief, and yeah, I mean, I know that he's obviously going to have a bigger role to play later on, but at this point, I remember in the anime, I wasn't too keen on him, and if I'm going from like fresh eyes perspective, I'm still not that keen on him in terms of just reading what I've seen so far. But it's still early days, I'll give him a chance. I know a lot of people like him, so let's see how it goes moving forward. But the two main characters of focus that we see in this section of the story that we're introduced to now would be, number one, Rax, a strong, proud warrior that wants to improve himself by fighting those strong opponents. But he gets fixated on Bam because of the aura that the Black March is giving out, basically stating that Bam, with the Black March, is a strong opponent. But from a character introduction standpoint, I found myself liking the way that Rax was presented. He seemed more serious in his manner and in his body language and sort of just general state and aura when comparing him to his anime to webtoon version. Plus, overall, his appearance just looks more menacing in this version of the media. So reading it like this, he looks a lot scarier. He looks like he could be a threat. In the anime, he doesn't really seem that way. I guess it's just the art style that they went with. One thing I have noticed, though, in these chapters, is that the art kind of struggles when displaying human-like characters, like Bam, like Hats, like Shibisu, even Kun, who I'll get to in a minute. But when it comes to like characters like Rax, Heldon, and Anak, and other sort of like monstrous kind of looking characters and designs, I think they look really good. So that's something quite unique going. It's kind of like me a little bit. I like to draw random and weird things, but when it comes to drawing like eyes and stuff, I'm absolutely terrible. a little bit of insight to me there. And then finally we get to Kun, a smart character that shows off a lot of skills in this couple of chapters, like planning skills, knowledge of different races, combat skills, and even thinks about breaking/twisting the point of the first test in order to benefit himself by trying to make allies instead. This shows he's a very competent character and he's one to watch out for moving forward. So, one thing I really didn't like about the character of Kun was actually the way that his character was portrayed in this. In the anime, we're used to seeing him with like a bit more of a spiky type of sort of hair, better style. In this, he seems kind of like it seems like it's very down and straight and narrow. It might just be the art style, and again, I'm not going to be too critical of the art style because I know it improves moving forward, but it just didn't do much for me in terms of his design, and I kept thinking it was a different character from a different series. That being said though, I really did like the fact that the bandage in his hair was super easy to see and understand, and we know that it's a bandage from just looking at it, as in, basically in the anime, I thought it was a bit of hair dye just in his hair at first. So, at the point where he does take it out of his hair, I was like, whoa, that's a hairband? Okay, I didn't know that, that's pretty cool. And now in this one, it actually has a design on it that's different from his normal hairstyle and his hair colour, so I can tell that it's not a bit of hair dye just for a fashion trend, is in fact something that he wears in it for a purpose. There was one panel that I really didn't like with Kun's character because it kind of confused me a little bit, and that was stating that Bam is a trustworthy character, because he didn't lie to him. There's a scene in where like Bam and Kun are talking, and Bam doesn't tell Kun anything. He says it's difficult for him to explain, and then Kun just goes, well, he's trustworthy. I'm like, is he though? If he was trustworthy, he would have told you from the start. I mean, yes, it makes common sense that you wouldn't explain everything to someone that might potentially kill you if he knew the full story, but at the same time, that doesn't wreak out smartness in my opinion, but that's just me. We do, however, get shown some great display of just smarts and overall skepticalness and just great qualities from my character in Kun as the chapters go forward, and that is something I really do appreciate, so good job on that. Now, there was one big line that I saw was missing, and honestly, I thought this would appear in a webtoon. However, it looks like it might just be an anime-only thing, and that line is about Bam stating that he belongs to Rachel. Apart from a few pages of Bam, reminiscing and thinking about what he's been taught by Rachel, obviously being taught the meaning of the word fight, which, by the way, if this face doesn't look suspicious to you, then I don't know what is. To me personally, from like a psychological standpoint and looking at her facial expressions and the way her eyes are fixated, it reeks out manipulation. And that's just based on looking at the eyes that basically just fixate on him, almost looking for a specific answer. When someone or something stares at you with a lot of kind of focus, it means they're wanting you to say something in particular. And that's the kind of vibe that I got. And if you mix in with what you do know, if you've watched the anime, I'm not going to say now, but it also kind of links back to what I was alluding to earlier in my first review. But, yeah. She was looking for a specific answer there. She got the right one that she wanted. But to me, that just kind of stuck out a little bit. But yes, that whole line about him belonging to her is probably just an anime-only line. And I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Because at the same time, Bam doesn't bring up Rachel at all to Kun at this point. So it's kind of like a weird situation. Oh well, moving forward, overall, I thought that this block of chapters were fine. They were just there. There were nothing really special and nothing really got me hooked as of yet in these. I think the most kind of surprising thing that's got me to carry on reading, if I was looking at it from a fresh perspective with fresh eyes, would be the line of Held Off last week, or last couple of chapters, where he said, you know, what would you do now, miss? I'm really interested to see who that miss was, but you know, if it wasn't for me watching the anime and knowing what's going to happen, I would be slightly struggling to continue the series because nothing's really gone, twink, let me go in. I was actually reading a different series a while ago. I won't say what it was because I don't want to start the whole kind of debate of which one's better, but once I got to like a couple of chapter 12, I think it was, I just kept reading until like chapter 300. And, I don't have that yet. Again, I'm not at chapter 12 yet, so something might go like that and they can go, yes, okay, let's carry on reading. But you know what? It's early days. I'm going to still give it good things. And I really did like the aspect of the world building and character introduction that we get into this chapter. It builds more into the lore of races and characters, the whole testings kind of situation. I thought that was really good. So I'll give it credit for that. And obviously, I'll continue to do it on a week-to-week basis. So all in all, great. I want to know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. And I also would like it if you know, let me know your personal opinion. At this point, was you actually invested super heavily into this series? Or did it take you a few more chapters to kind of go, that's it, I'm going to keep reading. If you liked the video, then please consider giving this video a like. And if you are new, then hit that subscribe button for more anime and webtoon content to come in the future. I'm nearly at 200, which 200 subscribers was my goal for the year. I know it's not setting the bar very high, but it's something that I was working towards. Let's see if we can hit that. And yeah, have a great day. Alligator, Martin here. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.